Hey guys, what's up? Dingocrikey here with another figure review. This time we're going to be looking at Transformers Classics Deluxe Class Skywarp. This figure was originally released in February of 2007. He was not released in any of the line's official waves, but instead was released as a Target exclusive in a 2-pack called The Battle for Autobot City, and he shared the pack with Voyager Class Ultra Magnus. The pack could be purchased for the total of $19.99 at time of release, so there's some figure information for you. And though Ultra Magnus will be shown for comparison in this review, this is only going to be a review of the Skywarp figure. If you want to see a review of the Ultra Magnus figure that came in the pack, you can go to my channel where I have a review of that figure posted as well. But anyways, let's get to looking at Skywarp in his alternate mode, which is an F-15 Eagle fighter jet. I do believe it's slightly modified for the toy, obviously, but that is the vehicle that it is based off of. Now, this is a straight repaint of the classic Starscream figure, so if you own that figure or some variation of the mold, this is the exact same thing, the only difference is being the color. No remolding, retooling, or anything like that. So first we'll be looking at his accessories. As you can see here, he has two cannons, or null rays, whatever you want to call them, and we'll be attaching them as they're pretty essential to making his vehicle mode look complete. And just take these pegs here, and you have these holes, push them into place, and same thing with the other one. Push the peg into the hole, straighten the cannons out, and then you have Skywarp in his vehicle mode. Give you a look at the front, the side, other side, the back, the bottom, and then the top. As you can see, the color scheme on this guy is a pretty basic Skywarp color scheme. He's got a whole lot of black, which is his main color, and his second most important color is probably purple, as he has a lot of details all throughout, but silver is definitely a close second in this mode. He's got a lot of silver detailing on the top, and then obviously he has this translucent orange color up here for the cockpit. Looking at some details, the tip of the nose is obviously rubber. We have this nice cockpit in there, and as you can see, they actually detailed a seat inside, which is pretty cool. Got these thrusters back here, and as all of the Classics figures do, he has this rub sign. Basically the way it works, you just rub across it, and it will reveal his faction, which is a nice throwback to the Generation 1 figures. Now, as far as kibble or negatives, maybe some people would be bothered by the cracks on the top of the robot mode, which is something we're probably just going to have because he does have to transform into a robot. And even the bottom of the jet kibble was pretty flat overall. If you look at the realistic F-15 Eagle fighter, it does have a little bit of baggage down here, so this does a nice job at mimicking it. It's one time where a Jetformer doesn't have a bad kibble down there. Other than that, maybe you'd have a problem with the way it looks from the bottom, but most Transformers don't look perfect in that regard. As far as other features go, he does have the rub sign, which we already went over, and as he has cannons, he also has firing missiles. Basically what you do is push down on this trigger here, and the missiles will fire. They have some pretty good punch to them, too. Last feature, he does have landing gear. As you can see, there are some wheel designs molded in here. They don't actually have any function such as rolling, but you can add to that by flipping out these little wheels here in the front, just using your finger, and it's pretty easy. And like I said, he has no actual roll function, but I guess it's just for aesthetic. Kind of a cool add-on. I should also mention that this jet mode is very stable, meaning you're not going to have it come out of place if you're just messing around with it or anything like that. It also feels really solid. Maybe not as durable as Ultra Magnus, who also comes in the 2-pack, as, he's a Deluxe class figure and generally they won't, but still, he feels pretty hardy and pretty solid. Definitely not as hollow as some of the more recent Transformers we've been getting. Also, I guess it's a pro that these missiles here don't just fire out at random. You do actually have to exert force. You probably won't have the problem of picking him up and having the missiles fire. Here we have a size comparison of Skywarp with the other figure in the Battle for Autobot City 2-pack. That is, of course, Voyager class Ultra Magnus. And here we have a size comparison with Combiner Wars Voyager class Silverbolt, Deluxe class Rook, and Combiner Hunter's Windblade. As for the transformation, we'll start by removing the cannons. They're a little bit hard to remove, just kind of wiggle them back and forth, and you can plug them out. Now that we have those removed, the first thing we're going to want to do is flip these wings around, and they are kind of pegged in there, so you might have to pull them out a little bit, like pull them to the side and flip them forward at the same time. Next, you're going to want to pull out the legs. They're a little bit tight, so you might have to like wobble them back and forth, and then usually they'll just pop out like that, which is pretty nice. Then you take the feet here and try to get your fingernail underneath the front. Just flip them outward. Then you take the teeny weeny fins here and push them upward. They're also on sort of tight hinges, so you might need a little bit of force. Flip these forward. And now that the legs are done, you can pull them apart. Next, we'll work with the body. First thing you want to do is, well, we'll flip in this landing gear for one, and then we will pull the body forward. Next, we will get our thumbs in here and flip out the arms, and you want to pull them out slightly so you have room to get your fingernail in here. Flip out the hands. There we go. Next thing we want to do is look at the nose of the jet, which will contain the head, and I want to take this top and just flip it downward like that. Now, I don't know if there's a better way to go about this, because you did hear that nasty click sound. It always makes me feel like this little piece here might be breaking, but I've tried it several different ways, and I pretty much always end up with that. So, not exactly a fan of it, but I don't know a way around it. Then we want to take the nose and just bend it back like so. Pop this part, which will become the body, the whole cockpit, out of place. Turn it around. Now what you want to do here is, you see you have this double hinged thingamajig, and you want to push it down, get the nose out of the way, and just push it down and make sure it's nice and flat against the rest of the back. Push the nose back there, and you'd want to make sure you have everything in place. Then you want to close the torso, and there we have Deluxe Class Skywarp in robot mode. And let's bring the figure up for a closer look. Give you guys a quick body scroll so you can get a look at all of the details. Give you guys a look at the face. No light piping, the eyes are just painted red. They don't seem to stand out too much in my opinion. There's a look at the front of the figure, the side, other side, the back, the bottom, and the top. As far as the color scheme goes, it's pretty similar to his vehicle mode color scheme with a few differences. We still have the black. The purple is a little bit more prominent now, I would say. Silver is definitely more prominent, and in case you can't tell, that is a metallic type of silver, whatever paint they used on it. We also have this translucent orange, and the body, it almost has a little bit of a greenish look. I don't know if that's the way the light's hitting it, or because it's against black. And the different color we have in this mode is that we do have some red, just on these areas here, and in the eyes. Now, personally, I don't like the way the red looks on this figure. I don't really know a way to put it, other than the black surface seems to really bleed through. You can probably really see it here on these details. I should also mention that obviously the purple plastic is a slightly different shade of purple than the purple paint applications. As far as details, I would say that this guy has a pretty good amount, especially in the body. You know, you can see all over this metallic silver. While this guy does not have as many paint applications as the original stock images had shown us, as he was supposed to have like a red in the feet and some black on the hands, I do think he has a pretty good amount, and I'm not really complaining, though I could see some people finding fault with that. Another cool little thing is these ridges in here. You know, you can't actually feel they're actual ridges, so that's kind of cool. As far as articulation goes, the upper legs are on a ball joint, so you should have a pretty free range of motion, but as you can see, it's kind of prohibited by especially this back piece here, but even the torso gets in the way a little bit. The knees can bend backwards just about that far. You can't really do anything such as sitting because of how short these upper legs are. You can also rotate at the knees, which is pretty cool. Nothing you can really do with the feet. Same with the body, no waist articulation or anything like that. The arms, can technically go all the way around, but as you can see, you're going to get into some conflicts with the wings, and even more so once we attach the cannons. At the elbows, these are pretty tight actually, but you can bend them about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit less. Oh, arms can go out as well, and rotate all the way up here. No wrist swivel, as you can see. As far as the head goes, you can actually articulate it pretty nicely with this piece back here, and it does just go back and forth. As far as kibble and all of the ugly bits go, we obviously have these wings back here, which are essential for the aesthetic, but obviously they get in the way of articulation. Some people may also not like this piece back here. We do also have these fins around the feet, which can be a little bit clunky looking. However, they don't get in the way of functions. Now, one more thing I want to mention. Usually screws are a bit of a problem for Transformers because while they're necessary, they kind of take away from the realistic look. However, what they did with this guy is actually give him black screws, as you can see here, and even on the insides of the legs here and here. As for the accessories, we still have the null ray cannons, and these have a number of different functions in this mode. The first is attaching them to the shoulders here. Just take this little peg, there's a hole on the arm, and you push them into place. And if you have them standing like this, it does look really good, or at least I think most people would agree. However, once you get into the actual practicality of it, it does have some problems. So when we move the arms back, it's going to definitely get in the way of the wings. And I don't know if this is a problem necessarily for every Skywarp figure, but it has been a recurring problem with this mold, as I have probably 7 different versions of it, is that on at least one of the arms, the cannon attachment will be super loose. This arm, it's pretty good. This one is super loose. So a way you can remedy that is by taking them off of the shoulders and making him hold them as he would regular blasters, just in his hands. And for this guy, they fit really nicely. For some of them, you can have problems with them fitting loosely in the hands, but at least for my Skywarp, they work pretty well. And there is one last function for these weapons, and that is a storage mode, so to speak. And what you want to do here is just take these holes, same ones from alternate mode, push the pegs into place. Same thing for the other one. And there you have his cannons out of the way, and this is probably the least obtrusive out of all of the functions for the accessories. I mean, obviously he can't do a whole lot with them, but for display purposes I do think it looks pretty good. Now, one thing you may have noticed is while I'm trying to stand Skywarp, I've had some problems with him standing up straight and not just falling backwards. It's just the way the feet are constructed. If you have his body leaning a little too far back, he'll just fall over. If you lean him a bit forward, or just make sure his body is not hanging back, maybe hunch him forward, you won't have that problem as much, but it can still happen. So you just kind of gotta work with adjusting the figure. I definitely would consider this a con, however. Here we have him with Voyager class Ultra Magnus. Here we have him with Combiner Wars Deluxe class Firefly, Voyager class Silverbolt, and Deluxe class Dead End. And here we have Skywarp with 2 other renditions of his character, one from the 2009 Revenge of the Fallen toy line, and the other from the 2003 Universe toy line. So, some final thoughts. Personally, I do think this figure's pretty cool, but for me it has some flaws. Now, making recommendations for this guy can be a little bit difficult. If the figure were still available at retail price, I would definitely recommend buying him, as you're going to get him in a 2-pack with Ultra Magnus, a pack that technically should be $30 but was priced at $19.99, so you're getting a really good deal. However, the Battle for Autobot City 2-pack has gone up exponentially in price since time of release. Even to buy a used version of the figure alone without Ultra Magnus, but with his accessories and in good condition, you still might be paying over $60, so this guy's definitely pretty pricey. Honestly, if I'm going to recommend this guy, it's all going to come down to your situation. For example, if you purchased either the Universe 2.0 or the Classic Starscream and the Generations or whatever Deluxe Class Thundercracker and you want Skywarp to complete them, I would definitely recommend buying him, even if you can find a used one in good condition. You know, if you really want to complete the Seekers and put in the money, I don't think you would be disappointed from this. Also, outside of the Masterpiece version of Skywarp, I do believe that this is the only really good recreation of his G1 character, and it's probably the only one that's in scale with the other figures. So if you're a G1 or Classics completist, I would think Skywarp would be essential to completing that roundup, and unless you're going to go with the Henkei version, this is probably your only option. If you're a casual collector, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this figure in itself, not because it's bad, but I don't think the figure itself is necessarily worth that price if you're just a casual collector. However, if you have saved up some money, or maybe you have birthday money, Christmas gift, something like that, and you're looking to spend money on some good figures, I would recommend buying the 2-pack. This guy's a pretty good figure, and Ultra Magnus is definitely really cool in my personal opinion, and I would argue from an objective standpoint as well. You can check out my review of him and see what you think, but that's really all I can say as far as recommendations. Anyways, thanks for watching this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you would like to check out more figure reviews like this, you can go to my channel. Also, if you're interested in just general Transformers stuff, such as commentary on the cartoons, predictions for the future films, news, updates, all of that, you can just stay tuned for my channel because I do a whole bunch of videos on that kind of stuff. And of course, in the comment section below, drop off what you thought of this review, along with any suggestions for future reviews. Anyways, that is all I have to say for now. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, and have a good one, guys. I'll see you soon.